Making a spiced or herbed butter is just as easy as taking room temperature butter, adding seasoning of your choice, and herbs or no herbs. In this example, I've got our sweet heat seasoning, which I absolutely adore in spiced butter, and I've added basil and thyme. The grill's up to 400, so now it's time to throw our tri-tip on. Marinated this tri-tip overnight in about 1/3 of a jar of Big and Tangy and 2 tablespoons of Latin heat. And this is screaming hot. And what we're going to do is brown the outside of the tri-tip and then turn this baby off. And it's just going to bake. Because it is a roast, it's not really a steak, so it does need some slow cooking. And I want to keep it hot, so we'll go ahead and close it up. Okay, we're going to turn off this side, the side that's underneath the roast, and then let this serve as the oven and the off side. Kind of like if you had a charcoal barbecue and you had charcoal on one side and your meat on the other. You know, we're going to give this a few minutes to sear, and then we're going to turn the heat off and close it down. I'm going to show you my absolute favorite, best recipe I've ever written recipe. And this started way back when I started my company. Sweet and spicy sauce, and we are going to make bacon onion chutney. And that requires a sharp knife. So I'm going to show you a little quick knife sharpening trick. This is an inexpensive knife sharpener. It's not a fancy steel. You're going to go like that 4 times, on the other side 4 times. One is the rough side, one is the fine side. So rough first, fine second, and you're done. You've got to wipe this off to get rid of the dust. Now we're going to slice our bacon into chunks. And I find that this method is just way simpler if it's partially frozen than if it's not. If it's already thawed out, the bacon becomes squishy and squirrely and moves around a lot. And we are going to use an entire pound of bacon to do this. This recipe freezes super well, so just make it and freeze it, and you can get it out and you can use it on crackers and cream cheese. I love this as a topping for a burger. It's absolutely fantastic, whether it's a veggie burger, a meat burger. It's super great. And you don't need a whole lot of extra seasoning. There we go. Into the pan it goes, and we will cook this over medium with a screen until it's done. Now for the onion. This is a large sweet onion. And my tip on cutting onions is, first and foremost, cut it in half. And then you have 2 safe to handle flat sides down. From here, slice off the top of the onion, and then get your finger underneath there and peel all that side up. For those of you that already cook, this is a piece of cake. Sometimes I take that secondary layer just because that's what comes with, and that's trash. From here, you can do a variety of things. I am going to do this. I hope you can see this on the camera. I'm going to slice across this way, but I'm going to do it by having it flat like this. And I'm holding it in place very firmly with this hand, and I'm slicing in. Okay? I'm going to go like this. We don't need tiny pieces, but I don't want them full-sized either. So then we've made 4 cuts. And then you can see it's already in the nice little chunks that we want. You can make these thick or thin. You want to use white onions, yellow onions, red onions, go for it. I like sweets. I think they're delicious. And we get to this part. And at a certain point, you're going to get to the pieces that may or may not have gotten that first cut. So then I go in like this. Let's get the rest of the onion that way. This is not precise. This is just, you know, chunky. And it's okay if they're long pieces. No big deal. I'm going to go ahead and do the other half. Let's peek in on our bacon, see how it's doing. Looking pretty good. I want to get rid of some of the liquid and fat that's coming out of the bacon, and I'll show you a quick trick that I like to do. Turn the heat off. So it's still bubbling, but there is no flame, all right? Because we're gonna involve paper. I'm gonna push all this to the side because I wanna make this just easy. I don't wanna have to offload the bacon. And, you know, we do want some of this fat. The sauce has no fat, so it's not like we're making a big, you know, massively fatty meal. It's not a meal anyway. And I'm tilting the pan and just soaking up all that liquid with the paper towel. You do want to have your trash can close for that part. Now, we can add our onions and let this continue cooking. Onions go in. Yeah, it's like 50-50 onions and bacon. Now, if you're watching this and you're vegan and you're thinking, what the heck am I going to do? I'm not eating bacon. I'm not eating, yeah, I mean, maybe you can cook with that fakin' stuff this way, you know, the meatless bacon. But actually what I would recommend is some dry mushrooms. Hydrated and cut into slices would be delicious with this. You could use chipotle peppers with the onions. I would drain them first. That's going to give you a little bit of that smoky flavor that the bacon gives you. Or you could just do plain old peppers and onions. You could take red bell peppers and onions and saute them with sauce and create your own, you know, pepper and onion chutney. Delicious that way as well. But the bacon is the rock star. It is the grandmother of all of all that is good and right with the world. No, I'm just kidding. It's the master recipe. I created this forever ago, and I love it, and it's my go-to. And you pour this over goat cheese, and everyone's like, "What the heck am I eating?" And I love that. I love entertaining, and people are just blown away because what they're tasting is not what they expect. It's something more delicious than they expected. Our onions are looking good, so it's time to add the sauce. Sweet and spicy, tomato, apple cider vinegar, gluten-free soy sauce, garlic, cayenne. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this all over this. Now I'm going to add 1/2 a jar of water. Lets us rinse out the jar. That way it can be reused. See if that's enough to cover all of this. Oh yeah, perfect. So this is where we're going to infuse the flavor of the bacon and the onions into the sauce, and infuse the flavor of the sauce into the bacon and the onions. So everything is just gonna taste magnificent. We do need to cook this and let it bubble for sometimes up to 45 minutes so that it gets absolutely thick and gooey. And I know right now you're probably thinking, why did she add the water? But the reason I added the water is because you do want all of that bacon juice and all of the onion juice to actually cook into the sauce. You don't want to have just sauce and meat and onions. Adding that water and then reducing it down creates a much more intense flavor. World difference. I mean, it's a huge difference. So right now I'm stirring to make sure that the sauce is totally incorporated into everything else, and there's no little pockets of water or pockets of sauce. And now I am going to leave this like this on low for 1/2 an hour, and then we'll check in on it. Okay, our bacon chutney has been bubbling away here for about 40 minutes. It really just depends on the pan you're using and the amount of liquid that's going to come out of the bacon and the onions, and all of those can vary. So we got 40 minutes in. I know it seems like a long time, but it's been bubbling away unmaintained, frankly, so I haven't really had to do anything. I'm going to cook this another 5 minutes so it's got a little bit thicker consistency, and then I'll show you how it turned out. Another great way to increase your protein content in things like dips and stuff is to make a hummus, make a spread, that kind of thing. In this case, we've got our black bean hummus that we made with the spicy Mexican chorizo dip and spread mix. And we've got lime and cotija cheese and some pecans and black beans and jalapenos, and just buzzed it all up in the food processor. And it's a rich, wonderful, thick hummus, and it's delicious. Roasted cauliflower with Moroccan twist spices. Moroccan twist goes great with a lot of vegetables, including cauliflower. It has cardamom, cinnamon, allspice. It has some really nice, just a tiny bit of red pepper flakes. Don't be scared, those are actually just sitting on the top. So when we go in there to get our seasoning, we're actually going to kind of scoop in a little bit. Let's get started. I have my olive oil. Just gonna drizzle that on. And I'm doing this so that the seasoning will stick. It also tastes really good. Roasting veggies is all about enhancing the natural flavor that the vegetable has. We are not trying to cover up the flavor of the vegetable here at all. So I'm gonna dig down, and you can see a little bit of seasoning. I'm not using this whole spoonful, I just wanna see what's going on here. I like to take a little bit, and then we're gonna stir this around. So I used probably a teaspoon at the most. And then we give these a stir. Oh my gosh, you can totally smell. Oh, it's kind of like curry meets chai tea. So it's quite fun. And then we will just offload all of this. This goes into the oven for 20 minutes at 350. And then we will have gorgeous Moroccan twist cauliflower. Hi, my name's Jennifer Reynolds, and I own Sauce Goddess Gourmet. And I know you can only see me if I put my face right in front of the camera, because the grill is in the way. So what I wanted to talk about is actually the ways that you can tell how cooked your meat is. And this is just a little quickie. I use this for steak, I use it for chicken, I use it for pork. If you press on your hand like this, while your hand is relaxed, this is rare, this is medium rare. So I've touched these two fingers, tightens up your muscles, just like the muscle meat tightens up. This is medium. This is medium well. You can see there's a lot, I don't know if you can tell this, but a lot more resistance. And then this is well done. So that's just a quickie. And if I was to press this, like say with the back of this, I press here, it feels harder. So this definitely tells me this is done. It's a thinner part of the steak. This is not as done, it's a little bit softer. That's your quick tip for the day. Temperatures listed here are if you'd prefer to use a thermometer, and these are going to be your internal temperatures for the largest part of the meat. Always let your meat rest 3 to 5 minutes after you've taken it off of the heat. That means out of the oven, out of the saute pan, off of the grill. Doesn't matter the cooking method. A large piece of meat should still rest before slicing into it, or the juices run all over the place and you have drier meat than you would if you let it sit. So don't be so hungry so fast. If you'd like to cook with Sauce Goddess virtually with your friends, we've got 2 new products we introduced because of the Nourished Festival. You can have a cooking class for 4 or a cooking class for 6, and they're virtual classes. Everyone gets a kit of sauces and spices sent to their home, and we all cook together on Zoom based on what you've got in your fridge and pantry. I think it could be a blast. Go shopping at saucegoddess.com. Thanks a bunch. And thank you for attending this class. Coupon code, if you would like to shop at saucegoddess.com, is TIPS, TIPS.